All right, let's go over the defense replays. Hello. First off. All right, so yeah, we're going to go over the defense replays. This is way late, but, you know, here it is. Just looking at some other stuff real quick. So here's the dude. Again, he's really fun in this game mode. I think he'll be fun in most game modes. Not quite sure if I'm going to use him for SDS, but we'll see how that goes. I haven't played any matches, so I haven't practiced. So hopefully I can get at least one win, maybe. That's really all I'm hoping for. I'm not really enthused about SDS this week. Ponzalogi, I was surprisingly able to get to tier 11, which is great because that mode is absolute garbage because of Tree Man. Yeah, now we get back to the defense replays. So yeah, here we go. Unfortunately, I think I was saying this at the beginning of last week that I forgot to, or I wasn't able to build my new defense in time. I took an extra day just to get it all put together. I was a bit lazy. I had time to do it, I just didn't get to it because I was playing top heroes. So this one took a hit and a loss. This was the defense from the prior week, but Tiki actually has bonus stats this week, so she's a little bit stronger because the prior week she would have gotten clapped up by Edelgard, I think. But then also Edelgard just went straight in instead of rally, which tends to happen when there's warp range. She just sometimes tends to warp right in, so that was unfortunate. But yeah, Edelgard went in and gets hit. Unfortunately, I forget how many hits this was to KO. I don't think it was more than yeah. There we go, 2 hits KO. Very, very good there from Tiki. And no one else was able to reach. No one else really moved close enough to reach, unfortunately. So it just didn't go my way. What happened? Sabotage didn't hit because Edelgard didn't rally. So since she, it just didn't work because she was the one getting baited. So she's not going to rally if she's the one getting baited. So, well, yeah, that's how it works. She's not going to rally if she's the one that's getting baited. So since she didn't rally, she didn't end her action or inflict. She wasn't able to inflict the sabotage debuff. And then from there, Tiki solos the rest of the team. That's what you're going to be watching for. However long this takes, is Tiki pretty much, destroying everyone. With some help from the rest of the cast, but mainly Tiki. Can't say I wasn't too invested in this one in terms of the outcome. It really didn't matter to me, even though it was a loss, because this wasn't the defense that I was going to be running for this week. So in my estimation, I think that this defense is old and needed to be changed, which is why I did change it, because of the Micaiah problem that I had pointed out in the prior week, that Micaiah was exposed with this particular layout. So this one is probably going to be retired. Another fantastic defensive build that served me quite well for, I want to say, 2 months maybe. Yeah, it's going to be retired now. So this is how it gets sent off, unfortunately, with the loss. Tiki here, I put her in that slot, man. Every time she popped out, she did nothing, and on the turn that she pops out, she always gets hit by the Bull Tower, because of course Bull Tower is on turn 3. So yeah, every time, literally does nothing. But yeah, here we go. The team pushes up, and they're gonna figure it out in terms of how to break through. I've been having a really hard time figuring out who to put into that extra slot, and no one from the latest banner, the bridal banner, really fits into that particular jigsaw either. I was looking at Larce for it. I think that Larce has the most potential for that extra slot, but I wasn't convinced by her defensive bulk, because she's going to be the one essentially in that Tiki role. I liked putting Tiki there I think Tiki's problem was that she just didn't have enough bulk to withstand the hit from the bolt tower, and I would have needed to partner her with someone that could either neutralize that, like a Medeus, or some additional support somehow. She wasn't close enough to Hathern, and there was no way in this configuration that I was able to get Hathern support to all of the units in the team that needed it. So it was really unfortunate. But yeah, that's how that played out. Still trying to find the right unit for that secret slot. Because of Elm, it's just a little bit more difficult to find someone to fit there. Prior to that, it was really easy. Just put Hearthfulger there and she does the job. But because of Elm now, whoever goes there has to be self-sufficient. So you're left with either an armored unit or some type of incredible melee tank, or maybe even Alphonse. I don't know. So yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. Not a lot of options in terms of units that really fit that mold. The Allirs have been promising, and you'll probably see a little bit of that as we go in. But yeah, not too many units really fit that build exactly. So this is the defensive build for this particular season. This season of Anima defense. Complete new map, new team, same old units. I had to bless Erica and bring her over from Dark Season. Unfortunately, I really hate doing that, but currently she is the best melee nuke in the game, and there's just no comparison, man. You need the firepower, you need the range, so she just has to fit in. If not her, it would be Camilla, but yeah, I just didn't want to bring Camilla in. I feel like she's so obnoxious, I didn't want to be that guy, even though I am that guy in Dark Season. I didn't want to bring the toxicity over to Anima Season as well. Now this Ronin, very impressive in terms of what he was able to do to my defense here. This Ronin was the one that really got things going here, allowed the opponent to win this particular match, which is, hats off to Ronin. Did not expect that to happen, and you're going to see that happen in a little bit. He gets his thing Lin Ring up on the second turn, and he's going to pop someone. But yeah, how this works is essentially that frontline tanky to pretty much counter Elm, who is the problem. That's pretty much why this is set up like this. And oh, right. This is the reason that I lost this match. So here we go. Allir is here, and she has the Celica ring. I've really struggled. Remember, earlier in the video I was talking about this as well. I really struggled to figure out who to put into this slot. It's such a difficult thing to figure out because, as you can see here, the unit has to be self-sufficient, which Allir can be. But then, she's baitable by someone like a Marth. So who do I really put into that slot? It's just not. They have to be fast enough to outspeed someone like, Dual Marth. Tanky enough to withstand Elm, and the bolt tower situation. I have to consider that as well, and then also they must have distant counter in the event that they're getting inflicted with undefended. They need to, whoever goes there must have distant counter, either the seal, the echo skill, or even like Prime or something. They have to have distant counter. So it's just not a lot of options that I can put into that specific slot, and I went with Allir this season just to see how she would function, if she's good or not. I found that she does decent against Elm, which is good. Given that Elm is going to win the speed check, the issue is that she does so much damage on the counterattack that typically she's able to win. What it really boiled down to, if I remember correctly, was for when she's player phase, she doesn't have the greatest player phase, especially when she's not like within. Does she have a space gun? I don't think she does. She just doesn't have the greatest player phase. that's probably being too reductionist. It's really Marth was the reason that she died there. Anyone else, she would have probably been able to warp in and get the KO, but I don't really want her to play phase, which is why I was in the middle of the week favoring or considering putting Malelir there, because he has a better player phase potential. But then I was also worried about him getting outsped in enemy phase by Elm. So it's just a lot to think about. And then also him getting outsped by Elm in enemy phase isn't the worst thing for me, because if he just dies, then they still have to get through Marth and the other units that are going to be there behind Malelir. But then also, if I'm putting a unit into that extra slot just to die, then where is the benefit to the team, you know? It's supposed to be a win more condition, and I feel like with some of the unit selections, or with the unit selections that we have available, it doesn't really improve the defense. And this week I seriously considered just not using it at all. But ultimately I went with the idea of, just let it run for the rest of the week and see if there's a benefit to it. And with this defense, I found that most people didn't stick around to find out who that extra unit was. If they weren't able to win on turn 1 and 2, they generally surrendered, which is interesting. Something else that I found from this defense, because it doesn't threaten the front line, so there was no real need. You had the time to just wait it out and see, but a lot of people just didn't really opt for that option, which was interesting. So they didn't even get to see Alir and the fact that she would warp out and essentially cost me the game. I put her there to be a threat, to force them to move further back, or just move in general and make a mistake with the positioning. But ultimately what happened is that the way I set it up with the Celica ring on female Alir is that she would warp out and essentially just be a suicide melee nuke. And it would, well, as you saw in this scenario, that loss, it cost me the game, which you never want from the units that's going to be in that extra slot. You never want to lose because of that unit. But that is what happened there. So I don't know if it's back to the drawing board with that, or just waiting until we get a better unit to be able to put into that slot to fix that particular issue. But really, I'm looking at the Alirs for that spot. I feel like they are the most competent units for Anima season for that spot, in terms of just being solo tanks and covering all bases, because they have the distant counter, they have the no counter disrupt, which didn't even matter, didn't really play a part in any of the matches that I came across this week. Just, again, so interesting. But yeah, the defense, let's go over that again. I gave Ather distant counter in her A skill, because I was putting her at the front, and to the best of my knowledge, beast units don't have access to the distant counter seal. So distant counter in the A skill, it was just regular old distant counter with Aegis and Lagu's friend, seemed to do the job in terms of stopping Lyn from attacking. Pretty much it seemed to do the job, because you'll see a lot of people try throughout the matches that will come up. So a lot of people try to initiate on Ather, but they fail because they realize that she is indeed the definition of thick. And you will pay for this. Really, really fantastic mythic. She's aging well. Don't know how much longer she'll hold up, just because units are just going to keep hitting harder. But for now, it's been, I think, pretty much a year, and she is still goated, still very, very good. A year, if not almost. And then the rest of the front line was rounded out with Vantage on Marth. Well, he just does that, Dual Marth, and then New Year's Snake. I had to change the map because I couldn't find a way to the other map, the one with Micaiah, because I was running Erica in the back row, because she has to be in the back row, otherwise she's gonna get sniped by Lyn or something with assistance from Elm. So Erica essentially has to be in the back row, and the biggest problem, especially when running her with Duo Marth, who gives those status effects to everyone, that means that there's no rally traps that I can really run on this team. Well, you can, but it's difficult to set up, and it would be dependent on what the opponent does, and I don't really want to depend on that scenario. I want it to be a consistent defense, which I don't believe that this defense is. A lot of the wins here are just people just failing to get through the front line and giving up as a result of that. That's what you're going to be seeing, which is a part of how the defense is designed to function. Sacrificing Athos in the corner there, I feel like was the best move. I couldn't really figure out who else to put over there. It would have been New Year's, what am I saying, Valentine's Rhea would be in that corner, but I needed the near save to help Ather against melee threats like Emblem Erica. So it worked out for the best that the team was laid out like this. But it's also kind of a negative because the mobility is very limited on this team in terms of them getting down the map. As you saw in the first loss that this defense took, until Ather pops out, it's difficult for the team to reach you if you're in the bottom half of the map, which is also part of the idea, to have that surprise reach. But it also kind of left me exposed. It feels like this was the position, the type of map layout that would have required me to have plus 10 male Ather, fallen male Ather. I feel like that's what's missing from here, to make it really just stand out. But I don't have that, and I don't think I'm gonna have that. So it is what it is. But yeah, got a full team wipe here. Interesting seeing 7 units defeated because I'm so used to seeing the 6, but this is going to be a full team wipe. Yeah, Hardy Baron on Neathauger because it just makes sense. At this point, I feel like she's the best user of it currently, especially if she's able to get around the map and smack you in the face. The damage is still so significant that even though she's running Hardy Baron, it totally makes it worth it to run it on her. Which was something that I was concerned about. I was concerned that without Setith, the defense would lack the necessary bulk to survive things, but I don't know if it was Athos or the combination of him and Rhea, or really just Marth being good, but it seemed to all work out in the end in terms of just being a brick wall to break through. Not a lot of people were able to do it, but I think having Setith here in some capacity would be a great way to make the defense even bulkier, or in offense have it be a little bit more threatening. But I just couldn't figure out how to get that unit and get Setith in there, unless I'm going to put him in the secret summoning circle and then put the circle in the back. But I'm kind of concerned about that particular option, because having the circle in the back would mean there's a gap there that someone could potentially warp into, like a Camilla, and you don't really want to be giving up gaps in your defense. Holes in your defense is never a good thing, but I might experiment with that in the future. But then also having Setith pop out on turn 3, how does that really, it makes your defense overall stronger, but there's no movement, no push forward to threaten the opponent, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted them to have that space, and then if they were waiting turns, I wanted them to then get an additional threat that forced them into making a decision, which is why I put the summoning circle at the front, and why Ather had Celica Ring to then warp down and cause havoc. Yeah, the opponent here, I think they played it out, or they were auto battling. I don't know which one it was, but we were able to pick them off one by one. Micaiah got some action here. I was thinking of bring Saline, but I ultimately decided on Micaiah just because of the debuffs. Both of them do kind of the same thing, except Saline has 3 range where Micaiah has 2. But the debuffs on Micaiah, I think, are very much worth it, which is why I ended up going with her. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten more units that offer the cleansing effect at this point. It's been so long now that it's been introduced into the game. I thought we would have gotten a few more units to have that effect. I was actually saying to Luigi that I think that Lena should have had that ability. Fallen Lena should have had that ability, but they copied Fallen Maria instead. Felt like that was a wasted opportunity, but you know, it's IS, they can do what they want to do. And then also, this is really interesting how female Alear is able to tank Erica, because Alear is a green unit, you know, so that really shouldn't be happening, but it's all the support that she's getting from Marth and just, you know, her bulk in general that allows her to do that. Very strong unit. I was impressed with her overall tankiness and ability to kill things. It's just, and you know, the fact that she can work by herself, it's just there are some matchups that she just doesn't do well in, and I feel like male Alear would have been better. If I had male Alear at the start of the week instead of female Alear, I probably would have went with him as the option for that summoning circle, but that's not how the week ended up. I do have him, but I'm not going to unlock the defense just to test him out in that summoning circle. I'm going to see what I can do with him otherwise. I think defense is a good place to put him. Same with Larce. I think Larce is probably going to be good on defense. I saw her like bodying. I completely destroyed Tank Top Ike. So that was impressive. Seems to be a very competent damage dealer in the same vein as legendary Ira. So there are a ton of similarities. Which also means that she shares a lot of the same weaknesses, in the sense that she's kind of like a glass nuke. Doesn't tend, if she had some more bulk, man, if she had like Felix level or Neathauger level of damage reduction, then I would 100% run her on defense. Larce or summon for her first off, but that's just not what I was seeing from, you know, the videos or the showcases that I've seen of her. Julia kind of fits that same mold. I was really considering giving close combat to how she would look like if she had close combat, close bonus doubler in the A skill instead of the finish. I was really considering how Julia would look on defense with that if she could survive someone like Elm, but I just wasn't confident about it. I don't know, maybe I'll regret not pulling on this banner in the future, but as you can see here, everyone is pretty much just deciding to not play, so maybe it doesn't matter. To be honest, I don't even think this is a really good defense. I feel like there are weaknesses in terms of its reach, and I feel like what's happening is that people just aren't trying. Marth isn't the greatest dual Marth. He does have the Vantage Needs, but he's still beatable. Hardy Bearing Hector pretty much solos him, so you know, there's that. And there's a couple of ways to get around him if you do run into him. Primarily just, you know, take out his friends, I guess, would be the best way to do it. You know, but I guess most people didn't have a plan for this type of setup. And also the map itself, the terrain itself, I feel like is very conducive to what I'm trying to accomplish with this defense. I don't frequently use this map layout or this terrain, but it necessitated this particular terrain. The other ones didn't fit what I wanted to do, which you see where the catapult is. I wanted to bring the catapult back. So that's one of the reasons that I chose this map, because it had a spot that I could put the catapult and then also keep Athos somewhat safe. You can hit him with the Emblem effect, but because he's so far up, you gotta go a bit closer just to get that inflicted, and you might get hit with Cancer Control and fail to be able to escape. So yeah, I really liked this terrain for what I was trying to accomplish. It took me a while to, you know, pick one, and this is what I came up with. So far you've been seeing people try to initiate this defense, and it really went the way that I anticipated, which was everyone's picking on Athos. That's really what he's there for. He is disposable. But yeah, not much else that they're able to do after that because they are going to get targeted. This person did wait until turn 3, so that's unique. We got to see a Leer pop up, and then not be able to figure out what to do about that. Even with this plus 10 Nell, I figured they would just go at it, but I think the Leer kind of spooked them a bit. And this is the last one that I got for this week. I'm not sure if any more came in after this because I passed out. I was exhausted. But this is the last one, and we have nothing happening here either. Well, I mean, they did take out Ather, but yeah, nothing really happening here. Ather is also expendable with this particular defensive layout. It's not ideal that she, be the one to take a hit like this, and really there aren't that many units aside from, there's only Erica that could attack like this from that particular spot, so I wasn't too worried about that. But then the counter control and then, them trying to escape, definitely going to get some get back there. So being able to set it up like this really worked in my favor. And then I don't think most people realize that Erica can solo both of the Neathhoggers with all of this, with Embassy plus the Fire Emblem plus everything else that's going on. Yeah, Erica's incredibly strong. So that's another reason that the defense is built like this. It's also it's built around Erica. She's a key component of this defense, her and Marth. And there you go. Did lose 2 matches, but understandable. I don't think I've had this many surrenders in a long time, but let's see if it'll hold up next week. But for now, the week after, Dark Season is running next, and we'll see how that goes. GG's. See you in the next one.